KevinWall. It is live and local now. This hour of Live and Local Now brought to you in part by Tarkanian for Senate. Guess who's here? Danny Tarkanian running for the U.S. Senate against Dean Heller in the Republican primary, and he joins us in studio. Do you ever get to a point, like in a campaign like this, where you just take a collective sigh of relief and just kind of, I can sit for 5 minutes. I can sit for 25 minutes with Kevin.
Big smile on my face. Yeah, of course. Now, look, this was part of what I like the most about campaigning. You get out and talk about the issues, talk to the voters directly. You get an opportunity to do what should matter the most to the voters. But unfortunately, the stuff that's the worst part of campaigning, making them phone calls, asking for money, and all that stuff ends up taking priority over it, and that's disappointing.
You know, one of the things that you do is you speak, you go to these 17 Lincoln Day dinners, and
Nope,
I guess
there's 16 Lincoln Day dinners in Clark County. There's only one county that doesn't have a Lincoln Day dinner.
Who is it?
Lincoln.
You're horrible.
It's true.
Is
Lincoln
it true? Really?
County is the only county that didn't have a Lincoln Day dinner. Yes. I thought that was funny.
You and I ought to just go stage one. We ought to just go out some afternoon and have a Lincoln Day dinner, and we'll go someplace and we'll invite a bunch of people in Lincoln County.
Lincoln County has a new GOP chair, and he's absolutely fabulous. He took over from another guy that really had let the party slip through the cracks and didn't do much. This guy's active. He's doing a lot. He's going to have a big barbecue for the candidates. I think it's in April. I told him I would come for sure, and I hope
that's great.
He's doing a good job rallying the base now. I think it took him more than 1 year though to get a Lincoln Day dinner put together.
I think that's great. You were at Saturday's big thing at the Italian American Club. Sold out. They turned away people. Standing room only. Colonel Allen West, I understand, absolutely blew people away.
He gave one of the best speeches I've heard, political speeches, where it really got, when you got done listening to him, you said, geez, let's get out and do something. Let's make this country a better place. And he did it very tactfully, respectfully, but inspirationally also. And I just loved his speech.
I'm curious, at events like this, it attracts all kinds of politicians. I'm assuming Dean showed up?
Dean was there, yes.
And a lot of others, gubernatorial candidates.
Yeah, well, Dean was there, but I think he left before Allen West spoke. He comes in late at every one of the Lincoln Day dinners, and then he leaves early. I don't think you heard Allen West speak. He should have, because it was extremely inspirational.
One of the good things that came out of Saturday was the fact that the Clark County Republican Party is out of the red, into the black. They don't owe anybody anything, and it's been a while since we've been able to say that. That's a good thing for area politicians here in Clark County.
Yes, it is. And the county party is trying to get a more solid footing going now. It's had some problems in the past, as the people that are familiar with the Southern Nevada politics know. But the people that are working it are doing a great job. Carl Bunce is the county chair. David Sajek is doing a great job as a vice chair, and everybody that works under them. It was a great event. They made a good amount of money. They brought out a great speaker. You know what the other thing is? They kept it going, too. They didn't let it drag on where people were just bored and wanted to leave. It was bam, bam, bam. They got to the speaker, and then it was done.
I want to ask you, because you talk about great speakers. One of the guys that I admire so much in this country as a voice is Herman Cain. I think Herman Cain is brilliant. I think he was brought down by politics, hardball politics, affairs.
Come on,
and things like.
It's amazing when you guys, and you use that word to me, something like negative ads. No, it's deceitful, it's disgusting, it's dishonest, it's not what should be part of politics. People accept that and say, oh, that's the way politics have always been. When you lie and you deceive people to tear people down like they did to Herman Cain, for the listeners that may not remember, Herman Cain at one point was leading in the presidential race when he ran in 2012. I believe that was a year. He was leading until they came up with these bogus charges of an affair and stuff and things that they said he did. And I think he ended up dropping out of the race after that. But he is an amazing individual. He's a great speaker. Better than that, he came to he supported me in my candidacy for U.S. Senate, and he asked. He was in town, asked what I was doing Saturday night, and I said, "Well, I'm going to the Lincoln Day dinner." And he said, "Well, let me come and meet a bunch of people." So he went there, and he was swarmed like the rock star that he is. And not one time did he, I don't believe, offended anybody by cutting off a conversation short or not taking a picture. He had the unique ability to show the respect, courtesy that everybody wanted to get from him without offending him, but still getting to his next spots and getting to where he had to go. I really thought he did an amazing job.
And you're bringing him back to town for a fundraiser, we understand.
Yeah, he's going to come out on Monday, March 26th. We're going to have a fundraiser at Piero's. We'll post it on our website and also send it out.
I love Piero's, by the way, just so you know. I love it.
He went there, I think, probably 310 days out of each year. Yeah, I don't know if he was ever at home. And the other days that he didn't eat there, he's probably out of town. Yeah, but we're excited. Herman Cain's, I wanted to have a real good person headline the event when we had at Piero's. So it's going to be March 26th, and looking forward to hearing Herman speak.
And if folks want to come out, is it an Eventbrite sort of thing, or what is it? Do we know yet?
I doubt we'll do it on Eventbrite, but we're going to post it on our website and through social media, and they can sign up and come. It's a fundraiser, so we're obviously asking people to make a contribution to the campaign.
I want to talk some policy with you, but before we get to the policy part, Dean Heller, I guess, is going up, or at least a PAC. Mitch McConnell's PAC, which is supporting Dean Heller, is going back up on. They're making a big digital buy, I guess, in the next week or so. What do you know about it?
Well, it's a negative buy. What they have to do with the FEC reports, they require super PACs to disclose how much money they're going to spend and what the ad is for which candidate, for or against. So they're coming up with another negative attack against me. They haven't done the positives on Heller yet. They just do all the negatives. It's like the good guy, bad guy. They figure they'll be the bad guy and take all the shots at me. I don't know what it's going to be about. They were on for, most of January and the beginning part of February, and it's just something they promised.
Is it anything new? I mean, because all we keep getting is the same regurgitated stuff from the Roberson and the Jackie Rosen campaign.
Well, these guys came up with some new stuff, but it's all lies and the deceit. And this is what's wrong with politics. Look, the last thing they came up with, there was Dean Heller one, but there was talk about me taking money from a children's charity when actually it was a salary that I was paid for over a 14-year period. That's not taken. It's not a children's charity. It's working for it, and it was over 14 years. But, that's what they want me to do, is waste my time explaining as opposed to exposing the political differences between myself and Heller. So it's just deceitful stuff. So anyways, it's something we have to face as part of politics. My dad told me this, and my dad was a lot like Columbo. You didn't think that he knew much of what he was talking about outside of basketball. He never really paid much attention to it. He was, always just on the peripheral. But when I told him I wanted to run for politics, he told me, he said, Danny, why would you want to do that? He said, the people that are the most successful are the ones that lie the best and have the most money, lie the most often. And I did exactly what you did. I laughed. I said, sure, Pops, absolutely. But just like Columbo, when it was all over and done, my dad was right. And unfortunately, that's what politics is. Now, we can sit here and complain, or we can sit here and quit, like a lot of people have wanted me to do, walk away from it, take your beating, or you can stand up and fight back and say, this isn't what politics should be about. Do you really want somebody to go back to Washington, D.C. because they lied and were deceitful to get there? Do you think those people are then going to be honest when they're back in Washington, D.C., or do you expect them then to break their promises to you? I mean, Dean Heller's a perfect example about that. He lies during the campaign trail and defames and is deceitful about his opponents. And then he goes back to Washington, D.C., and he breaks virtually every major promise that he gave to the people of Nevada, from promising to repeal Obamacare. He broke that promise. Promising to be tough on illegal immigration, and now he wants to give citizenship to 15 million illegal immigrants. He promised not to support any organization that funded abortions, and then he not only changed that promise, he voted for $560 million to be given to Planned Parenthood in taxpayer money in this last budget. So it's not surprising that they break their promises when they campaigned and lied. Now, is that what we want from our representatives? We have an opportunity in my race to change all that.
I want to ask you, though, because Victor Jakes was on Monday. He's always on Monday on this show. And one of the things he talked about was the suggestion, and I've heard it from not just Victor Jakes, but from others, that they say, oh, my gosh. I think it was
from Dean Heller and his communications director also. But go ahead.
No, but the thought of not running for the Senate, but getting back into the CD3 race, that I think a lot of people think would be much more winnable. I don't know. Have you thought about it at all?
Look at the CD3 race would have been more winnable. And I had to make a decision whether you get in an easier race or you do what is right and what's best. And I was recruited by the Trump supporters here in Nevada because they knew I had the courage and conviction to vote on the tough issues President Trump wanted to pass, and Dean Heller had proven he wouldn't. And so I made the decision to get in the tougher race. I've always liked Victor Jakes. I certainly like his political ideology, but he's completely off base when he makes those statements. And he himself, his own words show how off base he is. He wrote some article saying something similar. I should get out of the CD3 race, that if Dean Heller wins, Dean Heller's probably going to win, he says, because Mike Pence is going to come out and support him, which I don't think is going to be a big issue. But he said Dean Heller's going to win, and once he wins, he's going to be the John McCain of Nevada. Now, if Victor Jakes really believes that, which he wrote in the paper, so I assume he does, then why would he encourage me to get out of the race and allow Dean Heller to be the John McCain of Nevada? How many people listening on his show want to have a John McCain of Nevada? How many people don't believe Dean Heller will be like that because he was like that before I got in the race? So if that's the case, Victor Jakes should be encouraging Dean Heller to get out of the race because we don't want another John McCain. We want good, solid conservatives who support President Trump's America First policies, not obstructionists.
Danny Tarkanian joining us in studio, talking about the race for the U.S. Senate. He's challenging Dean Heller. The 1,200-pound elephant in the room seems to be what will the president do? Will he back Danny Tarkanian? Will he back Dean Heller? We know that his vice president's going to be out here doing a fundraiser for Heller. What are you hearing from the Trump camp, or have you even communicated as to whether they will support you? Will he even come out and maybe do a fundraiser for you?
I saw President Trump and spoke with him personally, and President Trump told me, Danny, I want to thank you for having the courage to support me when all the other cowards in Nevada left and abandoned me. They're going to lose. He goes, you're a good man. You're from a good family, and you're my main man. Now, that's what he told me. Now, that was 13, 14 months, no, about 15 months ago. That was in early November of 2016. I haven't talked with him since, but I would assume that everybody says he's a loyal individual. If he's a loyal person, why would he come out and support arguably the state's biggest never-Trumper, who voted against the repeal of Obamacare, who also, Dean Heller also said to the media that we should consider a special prosecutor against President Trump because everything President Trump says concerns him. And this was before Mueller was appointed. Well, why would President Trump want to come out and support a guy like that against somebody who was always supportive of he and his policies? So no, I don't believe it's going to happen. If it does happen, it would surprise me. But as I've said when I speak at different places, there was only one candidate in this Senate race that supported candidate Trump throughout the election. That was me. Dean Heller was against him. I got into this race August 8th. There was only one candidate in this race that supported President Trump and his America First policies once he became president until August 8th. After August 8th, everybody's trying to be Trump's best friend and act like they support Trump. In fact, I'm waiting any day now for President Trump to call me and thank me for finally getting Dean Heller to support his policies. Now, the final thing is, after this primary, June 12th, there will only be one person who will support President Trump and his American First policies. That'll be me. If Dean Heller wins, he's not going to support his policies again. He's going to be the same DC Dean he was before.
Again, Danny Tarkanian joining us. I want to talk some policy. First of all, we've been talking a lot about the steel tariffs, aluminum tariffs, and a lot of people, even a lot of Republicans, are backing away from the president, and the president's kind of out there all by himself. Do you like the idea of tariffs? If they're going to tax our products, we're going to tax your products, that kind of thing?
Look, I fully support President Trump in this decision with the tariffs on the aluminum and steel. First of all, what most of the Americans should care about in this instance is we do not produce ourselves enough steel and aluminum to be able to support our military if we get into a escalation of some type of war. We need to do this for our national defense. We need to build our steel industry back up and aluminum industry back up. So that's the first issue. So that alone, everybody should be on President Trump's side with this. But the second issue is this. How many of the listeners know that the United States is the only developed nation that charges a tax on products that leave the country and do not charge a tax on products that come in the country? But every other country, except 6 third world countries and us, every other country charges a tax for products that come in and not when they leave. Well, if that's the case, then we here in the United States are putting our businesses at the biggest disadvantage we possibly can. We already have the highest minimum wage. We have the most stringent and expensive regulations. Well, if we're going to tax products that go out and not tax products that go in when the rest of the world does the opposite, how do we expect our businesses here in the United States to compete internationally? We can't. So is there any reasons why we're losing our manufacturing business here? Is there any reason why businesses are leaving our country and going overseas? This is a way that we can help keep our businesses here by just leveling the playing field.
There's so much policy stuff to talk about. We're running out of time in this segment, but I do want to ask. I know there are a lot of people that want to help you. They want to help your campaign. They want to work with you. How do they get in touch with you? How do they offer their help? And I'm not even sure what it is you need.
Well, we'd love to have some volunteers in our office. We're making phone calls every day. In fact, tonight we're having a big phone call bank. They would love to have you there. I'm coming by at 4 o'clock and speak with all the volunteers before they get on the phone. They could call, go to our website at tarknv.com and get our campaign address and come by. We'd love to have you as a volunteer. And if anybody wants to contribute, you can contribute online to the same website, tarknv.com.
And the fundraiser, we'll have more information on that, how people can get out and be a part of that thing with Herman Cain. I love Herman Cain, by the way. Thank you so much for bringing him to town.
Oh, I'm just thrilled that he wants to come and support me, and we're looking forward to it.
Danny, thank you so much. Safe travels on the campaign trail. We'll talk soon.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Danny Tarkanian joining us. He's running for the U.S. Senate.